Hi, Price volunteers. Thank you for your time and support in helping our students reach and attain college. In this video, I'll be showing you a walkthrough of how we're going to be doing tutoring virtually this school year from 4 to 5 p.m. So let's begin by sharing my screen, and I'll make sure to send you this email of this Google document so that this is a basically one-stop shop for all content. So first off, just a little background information. The Proyce Bell schedule runs from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So during this time, students are in class and I'll be teaching. So most likely I will not respond during this time, but you can always send me text messages and I'll try to get to it if I get the chance to see it. After 4 o'clock, students will be going to SCS, Scholar Center Support. Now, depending on whether they're middle school or high school, they have slightly different schedules. We'll start with the middle school schedule. At 4 o'clock to 4:15, they have dinner. After dinner, the bell rings and they need to be in their class by 4:20. And at 4:20 to 5 o'clock, they have academics. Meanwhile, for high school students, right after school, they go to academics from 4 o'clock to 4:45. After academics, they have dinner from 4:45 to 5 o'clock. So you can see that dinners for middle school and high school are at different times. Now, let's talk about responsibilities. Because I am teaching in person and also managing Zoom, it's a little challenging and it feels like being at two places at once. It's like being at two different meetings at the same time, one physically and one virtually. So I will explain to you all what my responsibilities are in person and virtually. In person in the classroom from 4 to 4:45 or from 4:20 to 5 o'clock, depending on the day. Just a reminder that Mondays to Wednesdays are high school and Thursdays and Fridays are middle school math tutoring. I'll be organizing small study groups. So we'll have maybe like 30 to 60 kids in the classroom where some of them are tutors from UCSD as well as high school senior tutors. And many of them will be students. So I'll be organizing small groups, study groups there to create like 2 to 3 to 1 ratio in support groups. And I may be tutoring students with special needs in a one-on-one or one-on-two environment. While I'm doing that in person, I will also be doing virtual tutoring, but more of a facilitation role. So I'll assign tutors as co-hosts. And once I assign you as a co-host, you're going to have to do most of the micromanaging and putting an adult with a student in a one-on-one room. And there are certain tutors that have quite a vast experience of doing Zoom. So I'll make those individuals co-hosts. I will also make sure that students have their cameras on so that you know they're present. And lastly, I will respond to any text messages or phone calls about any issues that may persist. So those are my responsibilities in person and virtually during the tutoring. As for the volunteers, your responsibilities will be to work on the IXLs. And feel free to help them bring out the Zoom whiteboard, so forth. And as you get through further and further through the IXLs, please try to give them more responsibilities so eventually they can do the prompts independently. And then at the end of the day, on Monday to Wednesdays, it'll be 4:45. And on Thursdays and Fridays, it'll be after 5. Complete the Google form reflection, and I'll model what that looks like. Here are some important resources. Here's a Zoom link to after school tutoring. The best time to hop on that Zoom link is I wrap up class around 3:55. So around 4 to 4:05, you want to hop on to the Zoom meeting, and I'll make someone a host, a co-host, so that they can let others in. And that's the Zoom ID as well as the Zoom password, which is math, in case you are logging into another device and need to get in. The Google form reflection is here. So you can see that it asks you to, this is where the tutor fills it out, not the student. You'll write their first and last name, so whatever their first and last name says on their Zoom profile. Identify who their math teacher is. You can get a sense of their math teacher just based on what you're working on. But also, I would just directly ask the student, who's your math teacher at the beginning of the session? And then state your first and last name and what IXL you worked on. So you want to be very specific. So if you're on the IXL and there is a free account for you all in case you need access and full access to the account, the username is Preuss Tutors and the password is also Preuss Tutors. One discretion, notice that the IXL sign-in, it says ixl.com/sign-in/Preuss. So it's a very specific sign-in. You do not go to just ixl.com. So I'm just going to type in Preuss Tutors. And if we're working on a specific IXL, let's say I'll go to learning and we're working on algebra 2. So it's an A2. And we're working on roots of integers. Please make sure you write this in full. Algebra 2, M.1, roots of integers. And the example row is algebra 1, B.1, add, subtract, multiply, and divide integers. That's for a different one. But be very specific so we know what skills they worked on. And then by the end of the Zoom session, please rate the student on how well they can complete the math problems on their own. So a score of 1 would be completely dependent. They can't really do anything on their own. And a 5 would mean by the end of the session, you feel that they can do this completely by themselves. And then lastly, write any questions, comments, or concerns you may have about virtual tutoring or about how the session went. I will look at these on a regular basis. I'll try to do it daily right after the tutoring session. KBAC spreadsheet. So if you're wondering what the student needs to work on for KBACs, KBAC means kickback and calculate. It's also another name. It's just a fancier way of saying IXL. You click on this spreadsheet, and when you click on the spreadsheet, you'll notice that depending on what math subject they're in, there's a certain IXL assigned. So you can find it for all the classes. And for those who are familiar with my class, I have a spreadsheet of every single assignment. So all the video instruction to understand how I've been teaching them particular concepts, Google Slides, what the lesson was for the day, the worksheet of the day, the exit ticket, which lets me know if they understood the topic or not. I also provided answer keys and the IXLs on the side right here. So if you want if you're working with one of my 7th or 8th grade students and want details on how instruction was delivered and what they've done in the class, you can always click on the spreadsheet for that information. And lastly, as I mentioned, there's a free IXL account that you can have full access to. Should you still have any questions after going through this walkthrough, please don't hesitate to email me or text me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Once again, thank you for your commitment and support in helping our students transition from virtual tutoring to a hybrid virtual and in-person tutoring. Take care and have a nice day.